It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. This is a special edition of Baseball Today. It is presented to you by T-Mobile. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride. A historic day for us here at Baseball Today, because if you're watching on our YouTube channel, first of all, thank you very much. Secondly, hit the old thumbs up. Thirdly, look at the new branding we've got. We try and keep it fresh. Thanks so much to Sarah and our amazing design team for coming up with this great new look, Plouffe.
It's amazing. We needed a little bit of a refresh. There's no doubt about it. And we got it. Still like nice, and you can see what it's supposed to say, which I like. It's not too busy. And I think it represents who we are as a show, Chris.
Yeah.
It's out there for you to see. It's a beautiful thing. And you know what? I look good in this hoodie, don't I?
Yeah, you look great. And actually, I'm going to spin around because I've got.
Ooh, I like that. I think I have that shirt somewhere. I couldn't find it this morning, but I put the hoodie on instead.
Yeah, the hoodie's nice and toasty. Yeah. Dig that when you need it. Even during the summer, it gets a little cool in the morning or cool at night for some of you people out there. So go shop, and you get a discount. Click the link in the description. Head on over there. 25% off of the gear right now. So go get it. We appreciate your support. Thank you so much for joining us every day and become a part of our Baseball Today crew. And special shout out to everybody that worked on this, led by Sarah and the rest of the team. Awesome.
This looks different too.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I love the look down below.
All right.
I'm digging it. You know, one of a kind producer Dan, he's going nutty, if you know what I mean.
Well, Chris, you have the old logo in the background. We have to get that changed.
Well, we will, but that's stuck to the wall. So it's going to take more than just a simple pull down and then the put up of what you had of the canvas. That's going to take some serious work. I'm going to have.
You need me to come over and help you with that?
No, Josh will be fine. He's my art designer. He will. He and his mom will help do that. So that will be done shortly. We're just going to say goodbye to the old logo over there and hello to the new one. There we go. Tip of the cap today. Second straight day. We're doing it to essentially a family member that happens to be an active big leaguer. Yesterday was Austin Hedges getting engaged. Here it's Miguel Rojas saying I do to the 1,000 career hit club in the Dodgers' big win over Colorado. Especially great for a guy who has been primarily known for his defense. And when he first came up at the age of 27, you would have thought there was no way he was going to get 1,000 career hits.
Yeah, it's just a testament to, one, how good of a player he is, and two, how long you've played in the game. 1,000 hits is no joke. That's a ton of a bat success in the big leagues. We always root for Miggy Rowe, and he hit a homer early in the game as well. So, way to go, Miggy. Attaboy.
Yep,
snaps.
It's awesome. Yeah, I texted with him last night. He was very proud. He pays attention to that stuff because it does mean so much to him. He came over to this country, I believe, when he was 16 from Venezuela. Knew no English, was taken in by a family, really helped grow him up. It's somebody that he visited, I know, when he played in Cincinnati a couple of years ago. Still keeps in touch with them. All this stuff, all of his baseball journey, very, very important to him. And so he is very proud, and he should be, and we are proud of Miguel Rojas.
I think 1,000 hits is like maybe the most special number, because once you get to 2,000, you're just like, that's enough, bro. Like you're an excellent player. You're making so much money. 3,000, obviously, it's your Hall of Fame, but 1,000, that's like the everyman's hit total that you want to get to. So congrats to Miggy Rowe.
I like that perspective. Yeah. And we will start it out with Miggy Rowe and his Dodgers, who blow out the Rockies in the series finale. 12-3 is the final. So obviously with a score like that, they did not need their closer, which is good news because Edwin Diaz is done for a while. He did not look good on Sunday. He did not retire a batter, so he got his arm checked out. He's going to be done for 3 months. He's going to have loose bodies removed from his pitching elbow in the middle of this week. So they think that it's going to be 3 months, but with something like that, you never know. So what does that mean? Will the Dodgers now turn to Tanner Scott, whom they poured all that free agent money into last year? The season did not go as planned. Here's Dave Roberts on Tanner Scott, maybe moving into the 9th inning role.
There could be a big spot in the 7th where I feel that could be the game. And so I do feel comfortable with, a handful of guys really that I feel that can close out games for us. So right now I'm not going to name a closer.
Does that surprise you?
Not really. I mean, it's a true luxury to have a real deal closer who you're like, I'm giving him the ball no matter what. I think most managers would probably prefer to do it by lanes or pockets, whatever would be. And I think teams would rather do that as well, just because they know, or at least they think they have an idea of the matchups and what the best matchups can be. To have a guy that goes out there no matter what, like I said, is kind of a true luxury. But the Dodgers have a bunch of guys they can turn to, just like he said. I mean, Tanner Scott has been good this year. Obviously, last year didn't go well. I was looking up the numbers. He got punished by lefties last year, which is kind of shocking. He's usually kind of platoon proof. But he's an option. Trinan's an option. I know he didn't pitch well the other day, but he's been good the rest of the year. Vesia has been great. Gratterall's almost on his way back. Brock Stewart is working his way back. They have a ton of guys they can go to. And maybe, Chris, Tanner Scott continues like kind of how he's throwing right now and finds himself in a position where they're like, you know what, we need you to have the ninth. But I think for the organization like the Dodgers, who prides themselves on being ahead of the curve and really, having a full organization kind of going towards the game, they're fine with going with the hot hand or just the matchup. So I think they're fine exactly where they are.
They have a luxury because I think they're the one team where the regular season doesn't mean squat. I mean, they kind of proved it to us last year. We were like, they didn't get the bye. Well, they marched and won their second straight World Series. So I think they're like, as long as we have the 26 best and healthiest players in line and ready to go in October, we'll figure out the roles before then. So we're not going to panic here still kind of in the middle of April. That's just not what they do. Now, I tinkered with the idea of, in my head, once Snell comes back, did they move Roki back to the bullpen?
They're saying no.
I know, but what do you think?
I think it's a possibility down the line, Chris. I think there's still enough leash to try to make him the starting pitcher they think they can. If that does, if it continues to not like work, then yeah, like 100%, I can see Roki in the future in the bullpen. Yes.
Yeah. Well, let's remember it was nearly their downfall, or their perceived that, whatever, it was real or it wasn't. The bullpen was a huge question mark going into the postseason. They ended up using Roki in a lot of those high leverage situations. Obviously, they expect to have a healthy Edwin Diaz at some point in the second half of this year. But when you're talking about a guy who's now in his 30s, you never know. Every human body is different. If they do have to pull the trigger on a trade, they obviously have plenty of people. That gets me to the case of Dalton Rushing, who hit 2 more home runs last night. The nice thing for him right now is that he's getting some at-bats because Freddie Freeman is on paternity leave. But basically the 2 positions he plays, catcher, Will Smith, DH, Shohei Ohtani. There's not a lot of time and place for this dude. What do they do about Dalton Rushing?
It's tough because he's young and you want to make sure he's getting consistent at bats. You don't want him to rot away on the bench. And then, now, he's been so productive that you want to also get his bat in the lineup because of that. I think you just continue to work the off day thing with him. I don't think Shohei is going to get many off days at DH. Or maybe when he's pitching, like they've done that a few times, maybe that becomes a regular thing and Dalton becomes the DH. When Shohei's pitching, he becomes the first baseman once a week for Freddie Freeman, although I don't know if Freddie really wants that. He likes to play. But you could make the case and say, hey, we want to keep you fresh. And then also with Will Smith. So I think that ends up being what happens is he just becomes the off-day monster. And what I would do if I was Dave Roberts is I would sit him and Will Smith down and say, look, this is kind of going to be what it is. Like, Will, you're not catching day games after night games. Will, you're not catching after long travel days. And in certain situations like that, I would map it out with them to be fair to Dalton Rushing. So you can tell him like, hey, be ready for these days. So I think that's important in a player's development, is like being able to prepare properly instead of just being thrown into the fire.
Yeah, particularly when you have to catch. It's very different than any other position. When you show up to work, and you're a catcher, you've already thought a lot about what is going into your day. At least that's what the guys have told me, is that your brain just never shuts off. And your Freddie Freeman point, I'm going to push back on you. 3,000 hits is so important to him, so important. And he is going to look at it, even though he's a team guy, and even though he knows he's in his mid-30s, he's going to look at it as an opportunity missed for him and to help the team because of who he is.
He's 147, 2024, 147, 2025. I mean, that's 15 games for Dalton Rushing, I guess. I don't know. I was going to make this point about Diaz and the bullpen. I think it rings true for the entire roster. They're different in the way that I think they understand the mission here. And whatever brings them to that mission, personal stuff aside, they're going to do. Like, I think if Edwin comes back and they're like, yeah, you're going to close some games out, but also we might put you in the 7th or the 8th to do so. I think he'd buy into that. I don't think he'd be like, no, I'm the closer. And this is one of the only teams where I feel like because of who's on the roster, that people would be open to doing some things that maybe they wouldn't on in other organizations.
I would agree with most of that sentiment. And I'm not saying that Freddie Freeman would be selfish, but I think that he has certain goals that he wants to reach while helping the team. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, look, who would you rather have up with the game on the line or in a big situation, Freddie Freeman or Dalton Rushing?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there's no shame in saying that. Now, Dalton Rushing is off to an virtually unheard of start. 7 homers in 27 at-bats. That's tied for the fastest in their modern era in terms of getting to 7 home runs for plate appearances. Aristides Aquino, second time in a week we've mentioned that name, and Trevor Story are the other guys. He is the second fastest in terms of, that was for plate appearances. Second fastest to 7 homers in terms of at-bats. Only Barry Bonds got to 7 homers faster in the season.
Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can do. Like, you're not going to put Muncy at second and try Dalton at third base. Like, there's only so many at-bats to go around, and Dalton understands that, and it puts him it's not a great position to be in. If you think that you're an everyday big leaguer and you don't have the opportunity, it's tough, but it's kind of like it is what it is. That's unfortunate, that you really have no say, but that's the game of baseball.
I think it's possible some team could have pried him loose last year when they were really struggling with the bullpen, and they could have turned him into something. Not now.
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of. When you have a offensive-minded catcher, I feel like teams are pretty inclined to keeping them.
Yeah, I would lean that way, but obviously last year it felt a little desperate in the bullpen the second half of the year. Let us know, what do you think is going to end up happening with Dalton Rushing? What do you think is going to be happening with some of the big stars in order to get him at bats? Dodger fans, how worried are you about the Edwin Diaz injuries? It's just something you're like, all right, we'll see you get healthy. If it's August or close to September, that's fine. We'll be here when you're ready. A lot of stuff to get to. Throw it in the comments section. Let us know, please. All right, this episode of Baseball Today, the new and improved Baseball Today, sponsored by SeatGeek. So we're almost a month-ish into the regular season. You got the NBA and NHL playoffs. Don't forget about planning for the World Cup, which is coming to North America this summer. That's why we want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout-out. Talking about a great statistical season. Over 35 million downloads. Over 70,000 listed events. That has made SeatGeek yet again the #1 rated ticketing app around. Now, here's the cool thing. They're always looking out for you because every ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10. So you know that you're getting a good deal. And it's color-coded. Look for the green dot. Green dot, good. Red seat. Hold your phone here for just a second. You might look and you're trying to find those great seats for an NBA playoff game, and you see there's a couple right near the floor, but it's got a red dot. That doesn't mean the vision's bad. It means it's not the best deal for you because SeatGeek's always looking out for your wallet on top of everything else. And, of course, we got a code for you. Use this, Baseball 2026. You're going to get 10% off your next set of tickets at SeatGeek. That is 10% off any tickets. Promo code Baseball 2026. Click the link in the description. Download the app. Have the code automatically added to your account so you can use it later. Hopefully, we'll see you at a game or a concert in the near future. Atlanta Braves. Talked a lot about them lately. They have now won 6 straight. They take care of business against the Nationals 9-4. They're now 9 games over 500. And you know who continues to cook? None other than the reigning National League Rookie of the Year.
Baldwin, it's fair. Past House at third base. And it's going to give the Braves the lead. Baldwin now 21 driven in on the season. It is 4-3 Atlanta.
You know, after last season, I didn't think I'd be asking this question this soon, but has Drake Baldwin replaced Cal Raleigh as baseball's best offensive catcher?
No. Stop, Chris. No. And I don't even think he's second. I think it still goes 1A, 1B, Cal Raleigh, Will Smith. You can make a case for my guy Shea Langeliers as well. I'm not saying Drake Baldwin's he is a great offensive catcher. I love the swing it plays. He sprays the ball all over the park. But I think those 2 guys and possibly 3 guys are still ahead of him. And we got to see more out of him, man. 1 in barely another season of Drake Baldwin. These guys have been kind of doing it forever, especially for Will Smith. So I'm not willing to put him above those guys just yet. But do I like him? Yes. Is he a good offensive catcher? Yes. But I'm going to go Cal, Will, and then Drake and Shea probably neck and neck for that next 2 spots.
I think it's pretty close. I really do. I think when you have an over 800 OPS as a rookie catcher, and then you're doing what he's doing into the second season, it's not going to surprise me. Now, Cal, obviously, unprecedented 60 home run season for a catcher. I mean, he just blew past Salvador Perez's record, single season record. And let's not forget, 2 previous seasons before that, 30 homers each. That's impressive. I mean, you're talking about over 120 homers collectively, 3 seasons at the catching position and basically playing every day. But that's what Drake Baldwin is starting to do. Like, his off days are DHing. And he is, it's going to be very comparable. I mean, it's not going to be like apples to oranges. It's going to be apples to apples with Cal Raleigh because they're taking a similar work trajectory.
Why aren't you even talking about Will Smith? Why does nobody talk about Will Smith?
Because he is the forgotten man. He is true. That's why.
Not forget about the guy.
I know. Dude. I know. He is the forgotten man because when you talk about the great Dodgers lineup, he's not even named Will Smith. It's O and Will Smith. Whenever you mention names, and you're right, we're wrong. We're wrong for not talking about him enough.
He had a 901 OPS last year, 110 games, but 901 OPS for a catcher, and consistently gives good at bats.
I mean, there are a few guys in baseball you'd rather have up in the 8th inning or later than Will Smith. I mean, his
game-winning home run in Game 7.
Yeah, but it wasn't even just that one moment. That just continued on what he does. Remember earlier, just what was it, 10 days ago? They had a Will Smith bobblehead of that moment in Toronto, and he ended up hitting the go-ahead homer in like the 8th inning. Like, that's just what he does. Now, there are a couple other guys you'll want to keep your eye on because we always talk about I love the term cheat code that you use when you're talking about an offensive catcher. There's other guys. Liam Hicks of the Marlins is killing it. Really nice start for him. Good. Dylan Dingler is a guy that we have not mentioned a whole lot, but he had a good solid first half for the Tigers last year. Look at his numbers from the second half of last season through the playoffs and then for the start here, the first few weeks. Like, he has legit become a really good, you know what? I'm going to say it. See you in Philly for the All-Star game, Dylan Dingler.
I like all those guys you're talking about. If you're talking about Cal and Will, they've just done it for multiple years. The guys we're talking about right now, and Drake and Liam, and also Dylan, like, they got to do more. That's all. They continue to do what they're doing, and they'll be in the conversation. But that's just how I feel about it.
Who would you want over the next 2 seasons? You could pick a catcher right now. just this year and next year. We're not factoring how much they're getting paid. We're just saying, here, show up to the ballpark. That's your catcher.
Interesting. Probably Will Smith.
I think that's a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let us know. There's a lot of options out there. We didn't even mention William Contreras.
Yeah, William
Shame on
Contreras.
us.
And so it's interesting because I'd want to know after this season about challenges, because I think that's important. I'm still wrapping my head around what framing means, because I think it still means something.
Totally, with limited challenges.
So you have to, framing is there, but then also this new caveat of like winning challenges is there. So knowing the strike zone, you still have to, hold runners or from stealing. So like I want a pop time. I want all these things. After this year, I think we're gonna have a better idea of like the new catcher defense, like what matters the most. I don't think we're there yet.
By the way, we spend a lot of time in the most recent dugout discussions with Austin Hedges discussing ABS because he has now been around a decade. He has lived without it for a long time. He is making the adjustment. His conversation was fascinating. I mean, this is what he has his PhD in, is catching and the thought process and when to take challenges and when not to. Like, it was a really thoughtful discussion on his part. So check that part out. Even if you just want to fast forward to that part, I'm cool with that. So whatever you need, we're right there for dugout discussions. But mention in the comments, how do you rank the top 5 catchers in baseball right now? And, how much do you rely on history instead of looking forward with that ranking? Let us know. We always love hearing from you. Thanks. All right, it's time right now for our Blast of the Week. It's presented to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast, where we take a look at the home runs that all went 420-plus feet this past week. 420. That was yesterday, I do believe. All right, we're going to start out with Ellie De La Cruz. Checking in at number 5, 442. I was watching this one live. It was vicious.
I feel like we see homers on this segment in Cincinnati a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot of Cincinnati, a lot of Denver.
Yeah, so true. That is a beautiful swing. He's been doing it.
Yeah,
did a real nice defensive play last night as well. Wow.
Stantonian. Yeah. I mean, you can't have a segment without him. This one went 446.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Dead center there. Monument Park. I think he went over Monument Park.
He's being so rude, interrupting the Judge Trout show that we were just watching. And Stanton's like, hey, don't forget about me.
Oh, there's just so much power right there. Oh.
Boom.
God.
How about Kyle Karros?
Karros. Yeah.
That away. EK is going to be proud. Look at this one, 448. Told you Colorado was going to make a few appearances.
Yeah, that's a nice one. Does he have the hair like his dad?
I don't think so, but he's a monster, this kid.
Pull the hands in, big fella. Yeah.
You know his dad is the all-time home run leader for the Los Angeles Dodgers?
Like in a Dodgers uniform?
In a Los Angeles Dodgers uniform.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying there.
Yes. Max Muncy, 451 at Coors. He had a couple yesterday, too.
God, hi. Yeah, he's going off. He's such like, I'll carry the offense for 3 weeks straight kind of guy. I love his trot. That's the best home run trot in the game right there.
Yeah.
Just kind of like up and down.
Is there an ocean in Colorado to grab that one out of? Or no? Last one. We just talked about him. Shea Bangaliers, 467.
Put some respect on his name too, Chris. All right, this guy.
He's been great. He was a 4-WAR player last year.
30 homer machine.
So he's the one guy they haven't. It's him and Kurtz that haven't gotten extensions, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else is
like
pretty much
literally everybody else. The other Max Muncy doesn't have an extension, does he?
No, but he doesn't have any time.
He's pretty
really. Good. Yeah, he looks like a good player. So remember, for this MLB season, keep a close eye out for 420-plus foot home runs that unlock your free Baja Blast. What was your favorite home run from last week, too? You guys can throw that
Hold on. Side note. Just pulled up Shea's Savant page. 86 percentile in sprint speed. Let's go, man. He's not a base stealer, but he can turn it on, I guess, when he needs to.
Maybe that's after an inning when he's going to lead off the next frame. He has to.
Yeah, that was this year. Last year, same thing, 81st percentile. All right.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. He does not, I don't see him as a speed guy, but okay.
Not at all. Not at all. Cubs win another one. I think that's 6 in a row for Chicago. I think we're going to be talking about them at some point. You get a win Tuesday night against the Phillies. We're talking about you for that. Instead, we're going to talk to you about this because Craig Counsell is the one grabbing some headlines. Counsell was asked about teams getting a limit of 13 pitchers on their 26-man roster. The discussion turned a different direction because he said it's a rule to help offense, I think more than anything else, if you ask me. And then there's one team that's allowed to carry basically one of both, and he gets special consideration, which is probably the most bizarre rule. Trevor, who do you think he's talking about?
We know who he's talking about.
Okay. Does Craig have a point about Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers, or does he sound a bit whiny?
Mostly whiny. I'll go 95% whiny, 5% I'll kind of back him up. Just because one little caveat. Now, first, let's go the whiny part. It's not the Ohtani rule. It's a two-way player rule. Mm-hmm. And you literally, anybody can do it. You just have to develop a player or find a player or sign a player like Shohei Ohtani. And there's guys that maybe you'd think to do it like that. I know I'm trying to think of, give me a pitcher that can kind of hit that maybe you try to skirt the rules. Because what the rules are is over the past 2 years, you have to accumulate 20 innings pitched and then 20 games at DH or in the field with 3 at-bats per game.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of, if you wanted to, and you said, I want to have that extra pitcher on my roster, you could do it. I'm trying to think of a guy that would, Lorenzen.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. That's a great one, actually.
Hey, how about this? Hey, Rockies, you should try that.
Yeah,
you should try that.
Hey, Paul D. Podesta, you're so smart. Let's go. Crank that up.
So you could do it. It's whiny because, hey, Cubs, you could have signed Shohei Ohtani. Everybody had a chance. He was a free agent. He took meetings, whatever. Maybe you say the Dodgers were his choice all along. I'll probably support you on that. But there was a chance. You can develop people. So it's not the Shohei rule. The 5% that I'll say is not whiny is, and I think this was the right thing to do, but because Shohei had the arm surgery, wasn't able to pitch, in previous years he would have lost his eligibility to not count against the pitching total, but in 2024 they expanded it from the previous year to the previous 2 years. So that to me became the Shohei exception. But we're talking about the betterment of the entire game. A reason that you're getting paid $8 million, Craig Counsell, is part of it is because how popular Shohei has made baseball. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. If he wants to talk about that, I'm willing to hear him. The other stuff just sounds whiny.
Yeah, no, I thought you did a great job explaining the rule and why it is available to everybody. But let's be realistic. It's really available to one team and one player. And that's okay. We are all fortunate to be around and say that we have caught the shooting star and we get to enjoy it. What I would say is that the league did change a rule. When Shohei comes out of the game, he can still hit as a DH. They changed it just for him. So there is already a rule that's for a party of one. And I think that's probably what caught Counsell even a little bit more. How many times are we just going to put in rules for him? And even though it's not just for him, he's really the only one, and the Dodgers are the only team that can take advantage of it.
Well, when the Padres sell for $3.9 billion, that means the game's in a good spot. And again, a lot of it has to do with Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. Yes. I don't think anybody's going to question how much more popular he has made the sport. And people stop what they're doing to tune in to this. And I mean this in the most loving way. Circus freak. It just is incredible what we're watching. And I stop it and, stop what I'm doing and the consecutive on-base streak and the way he started the year with not giving up an earned run that dated back to last August, like it's just incredible. So I'm all for anything that will keep this going as long as it can. But I do understand why teams would get frustrated with certain things.
When did the universal DH come into play? I mean,
Dan, why don't you type that in real quick?
The universal
universal
DH,
DH,
not the DH, Dan.
not the DH
That's
for the
good.
American League. When did it?
Clean the years out.
Was it during COVID? 2022 is when it became?
That's also kind of a Shohei rule. They knew he was going to a National League team. They're like, you know what? Sorry.
All right, so let us know.
Okay, so maybe I am on Craig Counsell's side. The more we dig into this,
yeah.
When did he go to the Dodgers? His first year was
2 years ago. 2024. What did you say, Dan? It was a new CBA deal.
Yeah,
so
and it's just
that's how it lined up.
Maybe a little bit of anticipation on the league's part.
Yeah. All right, let us know. Counsell being whiny, or is he onto something?
I vote whiny.
Whiny?
Yeah.
See, I don't see it as whiny, but I understand. It's a little bit of what the legendary NBA coach Phil Jackson used to do. Like during the playoffs in particular, he would always complain about what happened in a game so that he could use the officials to his advantage the next game. And I think the Counsell just wants to air something so that he at least lets the league know, hey, we're on to you. Like enough with the rules that help him, even if this one isn't exactly in that framing and in that space, just like stop bending over backward for them. There's other teams that can help out the league too, and we're one of them. I don't know. He probably didn't think that way, but maybe I just perceive it that way.
I don't know.
Well, there's a lot to dig in here. Do you like it that they kind of bend over backward for Shohei? And I got to be careful with the way I say that. Do you think that Counsell's whining? Do you think that he's onto something? Let's go in the comments section. Hey, today's episode of Baseball Today, it's sponsored by SoFi. For a lot of people getting into crypto, we understand if it felt a little overwhelming, right? Trading platforms can seem complicated. There's often hesitation around using unfamiliar apps instead of the trusted financial institution. But this is where SoFi comes in. SoFi is the first nationally chartered bank where you can buy, sell, and hold cryptocurrency all from one simple, easy-to-use app. With access to more than 25 cryptocurrencies on a federally regulated platform, SoFi offers the added confidence and the safeguards you'd expect from a bank. The best part, it's all integrated into the same app you already use for your finances. That means you can manage your crypto right alongside your checking, your savings, and your investments. And from now until June 30th, new SoFi crypto members can receive up to $1,000 to help kickstart their crypto journey. Now, crypto, I want to let you know, it's inherently risky. You need to make sure it's right for your financial situation. But if you're ready to explore crypto with SoFi, visit SoFi.com/JohnBoy to start your crypto journey today. We continue our journey in Kansas City. Royals and O's. This was a crazy one, right? It was 1-0 going into the ninth. Kansas City, Lucas Erceg could not hang on to that lead. It eventually went to extra innings, and then things got nutty.
On 1-1. He swings away, belts the ball to center. Isbell back. Isbell watching. It's gone! Extra, extra! Everybody's coming home! A grand slam for Leody Taveras deep in the night.
Royals got close in the bottom of their frame. It got to 7-5. They got guys on. O's ended up winning, which means the Royals, we briefly mentioned them on Monday's show, fall to a league worst 7-16. So I ask you, Trevor Plouffe, what is worse, the roster construction or the way that Kansas City is playing out of the gate?
I think it's just the way they're playing out of the gate. I don't mind the roster construction. I think if you're a Kansas City Royals fan, you say, hey, I'd really like to be a little bit more aggressive during these during the offseason. We know we need offense, and we really didn't do that, besides like an Isaac Collins coming over there. They're one of these teams similar to the Tigers where, they thought, hey, we're going to get guys to continue to improve internally, and that's going to be what our offense is. Now, the starting pitching is who we thought they were, even if Cole Reagans hasn't got off to the best start. Like they're doing their job. But right now it's the bullpen and the offense that has really let them down. I think the offense will be better, obviously, than what we're seeing right now. There's a bunch of guys who have track records that just aren't living up to it. Sal is getting up there in age, but he's better than a 526 guy. Vinny P really, really struggling out the gate, 493 OPS. Bobby Witt's just been okay. They need him to be the MVP that he is. And even like a guy like a Jack Caglione, whose numbers are okay, like they really need him to be like a middle of the order bat in that lineup. So there's guys there who, and I didn't even mention Maikel Garcia, who can be, again, a real offensive threat. Just hasn't been that this year. So I think they will eventually come around offensively. If you're talking about the bullpen, like you probably say the same thing about them, that they'll have better days. So I don't mind the roster construction, but they really haven't got off to, obviously a really bad start. I have some numbers that I want to throw out to you. I was reading this article by Sam McDowell of the Kansas City Star, and he's got some like really, if you're into Royals, like to torturing Royals fans, just listen up. Maybe you can regurgitate some of these. In the last 44 years, this is from a day ago, only 2 teams who have started the season 7-15 or worse made the playoffs. So that's tough for them. In the last 40 years, only 1 team has made the playoffs after scoring 71 runs or fewer through 22 games. Only 1, and that's where they've been at so far. So it's an uphill battle for them. Do I think they're going to be better? Yes. Do I hate the roster construction? No. So I guess if you're a Royals fan, good times are coming, maybe.
I had them as the 6th seed in the American League playoffs. I think out of all the selections I made, this is probably the one I'd like back the most. Here's something interesting, and I couldn't believe I heard this on the broadcast last night. What do you think their record was last year when leading after 8 innings?
Oh, wow.
I'll give you a hint. Let me do the math real quick. It was.
They must have been. Really good.
They played 73 games last year where they led after 8 innings. So 73 games. So out of those, how many did they win?
70?
73.
Oh, love that.
They went 73-0. That's hard to do. You didn't have one little blip on the radar.
Yeah.
That is an incredible number. And they still did not make the playoffs, right?
They won 82
They did not make the playoffs. They've already lost 3 games this year where they led after 8 innings. So that magic has gone poof. The roster construction. So the 2 things they did offensively was trade for Isaac Collins. He and Mears came over, and I like Mears in the bullpen. And then Lane Thomas, who had a nothing year in Cleveland, in part because he was injured, and the part where he wasn't injured, he wasn't good. And neither of those dudes have been good. And so, yeah, if you're a Royals guy, you're like, well, I get it. Caglione is going to be our offense in the outfield, but they got to get something else. And Isbell has been okay at times, sure. But it just feels like they were just like, okay, we poured all this money into Bobby Witt, and Maikel Garcia is awesome, and he got an extension. I don't know. They've had 2 guys that have been decent enough offensively, and that's it, right? It's Garcia and it's Jensen. That's it. Caglione hit his first homer yesterday. He's got 2 ribs.
Yeah,
we're 3 weeks into this thing. He's driven in 2 runs.
I know they desperately need him to become that guy.
Yeah,
and Vinny will pick it up. It's been a real slow start.
Yeah,
for him.
He's had 2 homers in the last few games, so maybe that gets him going. But
both,
yeah, it's
both at Yankee Stadium.
I think so.
Yeah,
bad start for him. The lowest team OPS in the American League, Kansas City Royals. Not good. All right, we'll finish it up, though, with some good news. Reason I'm wearing a Tampa Bay Rays hat, not because they won. They didn't win. Cincinnati, they continue to steamroll teams.
No.
But good for Trevor Martin. who made his major league debut last night after a long time in the minors. You're getting a shot of his family and his dad there in the center of the screen. 25-year-old struck out Matt McClain. That's awesome. There's Pops. I'm going to give you a hand, sir. Why? Because he flew on a plane for the first time yesterday to go watch his kid pitch in the big leagues. Isn't that amazing?
That's pretty good. I feel like there's always a few people like that. I don't know whether you have a fear or phobia of planes. I was looking at like, where are you from? Because that'll tell you quite a
Oklahoma.
bit. Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the states I would have said he was from. No offense to Oklahoma, and no offense to this guy. I mean, if he doesn't like planes, he doesn't like planes. I don't know. My grandparents, and this is gonna a throwback right here. Shout out Dorothy and Al. They didn't like to fly because they were smokers. And they're like, no, like I'm not gonna fly 2 hours and give it up. We'll drive. They would drive everywhere across the country, get in the Cadillac, smoke cigarettes the entire way. So maybe that's what's going on here.
Dude, are you even old enough to remember the smoking planes or no?
No, I was not in the smoking restaurants. Yes, like smoking and non-smoking sections. Yes.
No. Hey, it was the weirdest thing ever. So when I was a kid, like the first half of the plane was smoke free, but if you were in like rows 18 and to the back, you were allowed to smoke. If you think about it, it's insane now.
Was there at least good like ventilation, like it would just take it out, or was just the whole thing just full of smoke?
The plane, it didn't matter. That stuff, it didn't just roll back. It's not like you fly like this. You fly like this. It's not like it's going to tip the smoke.
I know, but you think maybe like the air conditioning thing. I don't know.
The vents?
Yeah. I mean, I drove from California to Oklahoma. I was going to see my brother play in a tournament with my grandparents. Yeah, in the car. Me. My parents flew. Maybe they didn't want to buy me a ticket or something. I drove with them all the way to like Chickasaw, Oklahoma. I think that's what.
Oh my God! With all that smoke in the car,
ingesting secondhand smoke.
Were you like a dog? Did you stick your head out the window the entire time?
I remember having a CD player and just listening to music and like reading books in the back seat, dude.
Oh my God. I could not do that. You could not pay me enough money to make that drive. I hate driving. Part of it is because my back is such a problem. I have to stop every couple hours just to get out of the car. But the furthest I think I've ever driven is from here to Phoenix. Oh, no, I take that back. I went spring break one year from Cincinnati to Florida. What am I saying?
Yeah. I don't, it depends. I PJ, first class, and then maybe driving after that.
You do take the camper every year on your
I don't
family
mind a
trip.
drive. I don't mind a drive.
I can't do the drive.
Yeah.
I just can't. I don't know what it is. Can
Especially
somebody
with family? It's like it'll get annoying at some points, but also it's like you're forced to be together and talk. I like that. I like forcing my kids in the same area as I am, so they have to talk to me.
Well, that's another animal right there. If there's anybody that can leave a comment, something that'll make driving easier for me. I mean, there's nothing I can do about the physical stuff. I've got to deal with that. But it may be, I don't know. I'm not mentally prepared to drive any longer than from here to Phoenix, which is like 5.5 hours.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do anything longer. Sorry. Call me that guy. I want to leave you with this. On an airplane flight, I was flying cross country, and I'm in a seat, and it was a wide body. So, they've got like the galleys several times through in the middle of the plane. I'm sitting there, and I see some guy. All of a sudden, I see a lighter go off, and I'm like, what the hell? And I smell it. Dude was either doing meth or crack or something. And I went up to him. I was like, bro, we are 35,000 feet in the air. What the hell's the matter? He's like, well, what's the problem? I said, the problem is you're going to blow this shit up. Put that down. Go sit your ass down. I called the flight attendant over. She goes, oh, yeah, we saw him in the back doing something earlier. I said, well, how about doing something about it? I don't give a goddamn if you refill my water. Just make sure this shit gets to where I'm trying to go.
Was it Jim Leland?
Crackhead.
Was it Jim Leland smoking heaters in the
I
plane?
wish it had only been Jim Leland smoking heaters. It was way worse than that. He should have been driving an RV. That's what I'm talking about. And then he tries to rush to get off the plane afterward. He's like, I got to catch a flight. I'm like, no, you don't. You got to go get your fix in the bathroom, weirdo.
Okay.
Damn, you don't want to mess with Chris Rose when it comes to that stuff.
No, they need to give you a badge.
I'll improve my 0-3 fight record against that loser. All right, that's it. Full slate of games tonight. A lot of teams had Monday off, so we've got some rivalries renewed. We've got Yankees Red Sox for the first time this year. I think we got Giants Dodgers out by the Bay. Some other good stuff. Cubs, you win again. I promise you, we'll put you in the lineup. Sorry about that. We don't have time for everybody every day. We try and mix it up as best we can. Some things overlap. I hope you understand. But don't forget, go get your discount right here with Baseball Today. Oh, that's easier. Probably easier. Our new logo, our new merch, 25% off. Click the link in the description. You can be a member of our team, which we would love. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you here Wednesday on Baseball Today, presented to you by T-Mobile.